Looks like we found a game that really wants to be an esport. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my mobile game review of Etheria Restart. This game did kind of take me by surprise because I didn't even know of its existence until about maybe a week or two before the final beta. And a lot of content creators were super duper hyping this game up. They were saying this is going to be the PvP game you've been waiting for, is kind of how everybody was hyping it up for the longest time. So I'm going to go ahead and make a few statements before I start my actual review. So I did play this game day one of global launch. However, I also played this game during the final beta. My opinions on this video will not have anything to do with the beta. My thoughts are only going to be from global launch up until now. So I just want to make that clear because there were some things about the beta that were different, but it's nothing that's worth discussing here. So I just want to make it clear that yes, I was in the beta, but this will have nothing to do with it. This is just global launch and forward. And of course, as always, we're going to be discussing the music, the story presentation, the gameplay, the character building, the gacha, and the visuals. And then, of course, I'll give you my final score on the game. So we're going to start with music. To be perfectly honest, the music is really not that impressive to me. I think it's overall okay. It's passable, but the boss music doesn't do anything for me, and I think that's my biggest disappointment. I feel like in video games, the boss music should be like hype, hardcore, get your blood pumping, like it should put some emotion inside of you, and it literally does nothing for me. Now, as far as like the menu screens and stuff, I think it's fine. And of course, the in-game music overall is simply just fine, but that's it. It's not doing anything special. So this does get a 7 out of 10 for me. Like I said, the background music's fine, but it's not doing anything special. The story presentation, I kind of have a same feeling. It's a decent presentation, but it's not doing anything special. What I will comment on is when you're playing the story, you are walking around, you use a grappling hook to get to certain places. So they're trying to make it something that kind of keeps you engaged, to get you thinking, oh, this is something different. But, you know, it's not doing anything that's grabbing my attention in terms of, wow, look at the visuals, or wow, the story is actually compelling. You know, it's, and the other thing too is there's not a lot of story updates. Like, I think I played the story when I first played the game, and I think they had one story update, and that was pretty much it. Like, there's just not much to it. Now, it has been a long time since I've done anything related to story, but I want to say it does have voice dialogue. Now, in the beginning, I think it was just in another language, like Japanese, I think. They did do an update recently where they're doing English voice acting. I don't know if that's related to the story at all, but I do know that, you know, in the menus and when you're playing the game, the characters do speak in English as well. So I do appreciate that, but I don't think that's going to really do anything in terms of story for me since, you know, I haven't really played it since then. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's passable. It, you know, it has a story, but it feels like it's only there because it's supposed to, it's there to just be there. It's not there because they really care about the story. I think it's a gacha game. It has to have a story, and I think that's all it is. No real effort to me. Gameplay, this is where I have a lot to say in terms of gameplay. They do a lot of good things here. So if you're a competitive person, if you care about PvP, in terms of PvP specifically, this is going to be the best game on the market. They have a thing called Summit Arena, and I don't play this a lot, to be honest. I play enough to get some rewards, and then I just stop, because I honestly am not a super competitive player. But what I will say is, if you care about PvP, This mode right here specifically should get you excited. The way that this works is you do your matchmaking, you pair up against somebody, I'm assuming of a similar score as you, and you are picking characters one by one. Well, actually, I think it's like one here, two at a time at certain parts. It kind of just depends on who's going first. But basically, you're going back and forth picking characters. Now, if I pick a certain character, that means you can't pick that character. So everybody that's going to be in the fight are all going to be different characters overall. Once each side picks their 5 characters, you get to pick a character that's banned. So they can't use one of those characters they pick. And same with you, they get to pick one of your characters that cannot be used in that fight. And then it becomes a 4-on-4. A really nice way to put this together, to put some thought and some strategy into who should you ban, what kind of characters should you use. It gives some team building. It's really, really strong. And then, of course, you can then go back and forth, taking your turns to do the best you can. Now, you can put it on auto, which is what I do. Like, after I pick and we, ban each other's characters, I just put mine on auto and let it do it for me. But if you really care about min-maxing and doing things the right way, you can manually control what each character is doing in your team, as far as like what skill they're going to use and when they're going to use it. And that is just really, really cool for someone that cares about PvP. So yeah, in terms of like PvP, this is going to be the best game in the market, more on a one-on-one basis. It's a very, very competitive thing, and I can't hype it up for people who care. Like I said, I'm not super big into it. I participate a little bit, but I appreciate it for what it is. Now, they do have an Ether Arena, which is just your basic, I build a team and I fight your defense team. And it's kind of like a computer, right? It's like an auto thing. And they have a Fearless Arena. Now, I've never, ever participated in this, so I don't really have a comment. But I think it's just like a tournament bracket that you can do on the weekends. And I'm going to assume that this is pretty cool too, but I can't comment on it because I've never tried it before. I only really do the Ether Arena just because it's just part of my dailies that can give me some, resources, but I don't take PvP seriously. But I do think that it is great for anyone that truly cares about it. So I had to bring that up because that's like a huge, huge highlight. In terms of guilds, so there are basically 2 things you can do. You have your guild versus guild, which, you set up your defense teams, and then when it's time to attack, you attack each base as much as you can. You get a certain number of tries, and you go as far as you can. If there are slots that have not been filled, they'll be filled with bots, basically, which will be a lot easier to defeat. There are a series of 3v3 battles. So you're not going to build a full squad of 4 or 5. It's just going to be 3-on-3. It's okay if you care about it. I don't really have anything really strong to say about that. Now, in terms of the PvE stuff, like how you actually help the guild, there are basically 2 things you can do that are kind of cool. So in order to help you get duplicates of characters, you can set up a character to be picked. And then if they use like a certain coin of that element, you get like a star or a slot. And then if you get 4 slots, you get a shard of that character. And then of course, if you get 50 of those shards, you can actually get a dupe of a character that you're going for. So that's kind of cool. And then they have little things where if you fight in what's it called? Let me just find it real quick. So if you fight in Grim Pursuit so many times, you get some guild points. And if you do Threshold a certain amount of time, you get some guild points. They do stuff like that, and that will basically help your guild get more resources and stuff. So it's always good to participate in that to help out your guild. And they have like a little guild boss that you can fight every day, which will also help your guild get more resources and stuff. So there's definitely stuff to do. In terms of your guild itself. Overall, I think it's fine. The rewards you get are okay. I mean, the only thing that really matters really is the shop, because that's where you can get, better materials, which is why you want to participate. but it does have stuff for guild. But other gameplay related stuff is you have your series of grind mode, which is Grim Pursuit, Threshold, Investigation, and GP Outpost. This is basically what you will be grinding for the most part. So of course every RPG should have that. And in these middle row, this is more, I'm gonna say in-game stuff mostly, with the exception of Phantom Theater. But like for example, Ethernet Rally, this is the true in-game. In my opinion, outside of PvP, Ethernet Rally is the end game for anyone that's PvE focused. It's a good test of how far your account has grown. And so I actually need to finish this up. I'm actually almost done, I think, but you know, I've slowly been able to start clearing it. Like for the longest time, it was hard for me to go far enough to get anything worthwhile, but my account is finally built enough to where I can do this. So they do have certain modes that test your account. Ember Trek, same as well. You have a normal mode and then you have a hard mode, which I need to start. And then the Anti-Sync Echoes, these are also challenges you can do that are kind of difficult to see how far you can go. I need to work on that too. I just have been kind of ignoring it. But it is something you can do too. And in Phantom Theater, this is kind of a thing if you want to do co-op with another player. This is another thing that you can do. I personally don't care about it. I'm not much of a co-op guy when it comes to playing games. I like to kind of do things on my own, so I don't really participate in Phantom Theater. But if you care about co-op in games, at least this has it for you. So you can do it. I think the way it works is you basically pick certain characters to fight like a certain boss, and then whoever else you're partnered with will pick characters to fight another boss. And I think there's like another boss, a third one where you both have characters or something like that. I don't remember specifically because I haven't done it in a while, but there is co-op basically, which is fine for those that care. And then you have your rotating events. Now, the rotating events, I would say, are mostly good. There's really only one event that I absolutely hate, but I'm not going to knock the game for it, which is basically that wannabe sports betting event. But every other event they have, I think, is decent. It's either something fun and interactive, or they give good rewards. So it's at least one or the other, sometimes both if you're fortunate. And they did add something new called Awakened Ordeal. I don't think this is really a rotating event because it's been the same ever since it's come out, where you can basically build up an SR by repeating the dungeon. It's okay too, but overall, the events in this game are pretty strong. The only thing that I say this game is missing in terms of event is a casual mode. Basically, something along the lines of a roguelike mode. For example, I believe it's Honkai Star Rail, they have Divergent Universe, they have that new mode that I forgot what it's called, but it's super good, where basically every round is going to be different characters with different boosts and all kinds of stuff. And Currency Wars, that's what it is. They have stuff like that to kind of keep players playing over and over because it's just a fun thing to do. Unfortunately, Etheria Restart doesn't have a game mode that keeps you online. I mean, once you've done like your dailies and your event stuff, you're pretty much done. Now, of course, there are some rotating events like the Ethernet Rally and Ember Trek, but you can probably finish those in a couple of days, to be honest. And you're more or less done for the next, I think, 3 or 4 weeks that these are on. So if there's just no game mode that makes you want to constantly log in and keep playing, and I think that's the one thing this is missing. So if this had a roguelike mode, I think the gameplay would be a 10 out of 10. But because that's the one thing it's missing, something to keep players on the game for a long period of time, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I still think it's very strong. They have lots of stuff for people to do, something almost for everyone. So yeah, it's a really strong gameplay. Character building. This is something else that I have a lot to say about. So this game, there's a whole lot you can do here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick a character. I'm going to pick this character. and I'm just going to talk about what typically you're going to do. Now, the first thing you're going to be doing is leveling up the character itself, which is what you'll do in every RPG. That's normal stuff, right? What's really interesting are, first off, the modules. So basically, these are things you can attach to the character that if you get so many slots, you can unlock, extra boost on your passives. And that can give you something like defense or HP or whatever the case may be. Sometimes they have extra passives, like Strive, for example. If you have it maxed, you can get Advanced Turn Meter after being attacked. So these modules, when you get like a full set, can give you extra added bonuses and abilities. On top of that, each of these has like a main stat and some substats, which I'm sure you've all seen before in other games, so this isn't anything crazy, right? But what's cool about it is, let's say I wanted to get something specific. I could look at a matrix, I can just pretend that I want to do Cure, for example. Confirm filter. It's going to show all of the Cure stuff. And then I can go to attributes and say, you know what? I want my main stat to be effect resistance. And then as far as my initial sub attributes, I want there to be 4 so that I don't have to I can focus on just upping these stats. And then I want speed as a sub stat. That's like the one thing I want to see the most. I can confirm the filter and that'll show everything that meets that criteria. So since I don't have anything of that starts with 4 sub attributes, I'm going to go to 3 instead. And I only have 1. I don't obviously grind that stage much, so maybe this was not a good example. I'll just go to 2 for now. And okay, let me just pick something else, because honestly, I don't think that I have much Cure stuff, because I don't really use it often. So we're just going to go to like Wellspring. I do a lot of HP builds, so let's do that instead. Okay, and then we'll just say I want 4s. And we'll just say I want HP bonus and I want speed as one of my substats. Boom, it'll pull up everything that I have in that slot that fits those criteria. So you can really be very specific with what you're looking for in terms of building a character. I like that. This is like a quality of life thing when it comes to building a character. And I think a lot of games lack this. Like, just having a good way to filter goes a long way in helping you properly build a character. You also have something called prowess. This is basically doing 2 things. One, you get dupes, you get extra passives. Now, one thing I'm going to say, because this is a criticism that I hear a lot lately, is that they don't like games where you're having to get dupes of characters. I'm going to tell you right now that, and this is the same with a lot of games, the dupes in this game only matter if you're trying to be competitive. Like, if you really care about PvP, then, or if you care about getting like the highest score in a certain mode, then yes, this will matter. But if you're just enjoying the game casually and you just want to be able to grind and make your characters better and do well just in events in general so you can get rewards, this is really unnecessary. I want to make that clear. Like, you can get passes if you, or dupes if you want, but it's not a necessity to clear content, is what I'm trying to say. Now, the thing that's the most important are these here, because this is going to basically up how well your character performs. It'll build up your stats, it'll build up all their extra abilities to the best that they can be. The biggest criticism that I have on this is the simple fact that especially if you're building an SSR character, you need a thing called a lattice, which I guess I can't see here because I already fully built her. So let me find someone that's not done yet. Here we go. I've already built that for her. I guess here we go. You need this thing's called a perfect lattice, and this is specifically for SSR characters, your stronger characters. These lattices are very rare and difficult to get. It's not something you could just grind for on any stage. You're basically at the mercy of the shops, and you're at the mercy of events, whenever they come out. And not all events will give you perfect lattices. Now, there are some events that'll give you some perfect lattice shards, and if you get 50 shards, you can make a lattice, but not every event even gives them to you. Like, they're very, very rare. And I think even if you're a whale, there's a limited amount of these that you can even purchase. You'll still get a head start over everyone else in terms of building, but even that has its limits. But yeah, this right here, I'm gonna say is probably the number one reason people have quit the game, because it takes forever to fully build a character, especially if you're a budget player or free to play. I would say that uh, in today's economy, I guess, it takes about maybe 3 weeks for me to fully build a character, give or take a week. I'm gonna say 3 or 4 weeks to build a character, and that's mainly because I can do well enough in certain events to earn lattices or lattice shards or whatever the case may be. When you're first playing the game, it's gonna take you like at least a month to build your first SSR character. It's because your characters are gonna be very weak. You're not going to be able to complete content as well, so you're not going to be able to earn these much. You're literally going to be at the mercy of shops for the longest time. Once you're able to build up your account strong enough, then you'll be able to get more lattice and lattice shards. And in practice, I understand what they're doing, but the problem is that not being able to build a character and actually fully use them to their full potential outside of dupes turns a lot of people off, and I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of people quit the game, because it is a very slow process to build these characters. So that's really my biggest criticism, is the lattice system, just because they're too rare. I honestly think that what they could have done to make this better is simply make this available on all events, not just some events. So that, maybe it'll only take 2 weeks to fully build a character. And I think that's fair. Making it 2 weeks for a budget / free to play to fully build a character, I think would be fair. But the fact that it takes 3 or 4 weeks for your average player to fully build an SSR it's just gonna turn a lot of people off. So this is a game that honestly takes patience when it comes to building, and people are gonna quit because of it. But outside of that, there's a lot of cool stuff. They also have this thing called a shell. And I'm going to go back to the other character I was using. These shells, once leveled up properly, can give you more of those little slots to help you max out some of your passives. And also, they have their own abilities themselves that can do things. And of course, you can kind of re-roll some of their passive effects to more fit the character that they're attached to. So, and of course, as a buddy, you can grind these as well. So there is a lot of good attention to detail in terms of the character building. I really, really like it a lot. Like I said, my only criticism is the lack of lattices that you can get, because it takes way too long to build a single character. But with all that said, and I had a lot to say, obviously, I'm giving the character building a 9 out of 10. If the lattice economy was better, this would be a perfect 10 out of 10, because there's a lot of cool stuff and quality of life that this has. Oh, and with the shells, you can also, let's say you want to replace them, you can also filter by specific scenarios as well. I just wanted to bring that up too. The filtering in this game makes it a lot easier to build, for sure. Okay, let's talk about the gacha. Easily the best thing about this game. Oh, hold on, I gotta redo my grind here. There we go. All right, so we're gonna go to the summon. So the way this works is 80 summons gets you the pity. There's no soft pity or 50-50 for you Hoyoverse players. There's no soft pity, it's just once you get to 80, you get the character. That in itself is pretty strong, but on top of that, the economy is excellent. This game is very generous with giving you these pulls here. You're gonna get something that looks similar to this. It looks like a horseshoe to me, but at least where the colors are. But yeah, basically you get these what they call Apex prototypes, and there's another type of prototype that's less rare that you get, and they give them out a lot on different events, and if you're doing PvP stuff, and you can get them in the shops. Like, you can get these basically everywhere. to the point to where if you are a free-to-play slash budget spender, you can basically pity a character every time a new character comes out. No question. Now, granted, with these Apex ones, these are the more rare characters, so you may not get enough to pity, but you can use these Hydra crystals to basically get you to your pity, because you get a lot of these as well as you play the game. So the economy is so good that you can pity pretty much every banner, and you're good to go. And of course, the reason that the game can do this is because of the slow building of the characters. So to make up for that, they make every character easy to pull. So it's an interesting balance, but I do appreciate the gacha economy in this game. It is absolutely top tier, and this is really how all games should be, is just have a certain number, a lower number like 80, 90, 100, and then make it guaranteed to get the character, and make it to where it's possible to pay on every banner. That's how all gacha games really should be. If you play the game actively, they should give you this as a reward for playing the game actively. So perfect 10 out of 10. I have nothing bad to say about it. I think it's cool. Now, I know that some people don't like the fact that some of the premium characters cost more Hydra crystals, but honestly, that doesn't matter because the economy is good enough to where you can still pull them. It's not that big a deal. So that's kind of where my opinion is on that. The last thing I want to discuss in this game are the visuals. Overall, I think they're decent. I don't think they're doing anything better than any other game has out there in the market. One thing that I have heard people say about this game, and I kind of agree, early on people were saying that this game feels like a game that came out 5 years ago. Like, when you've played a lot of the games that have come out recently, a lot of the visuals are like, just something more stronger with more detail, but here it feels, I guess, kind of basic, but it's okay, in all honesty. My big criticism is that when you're looking at the unit screen, and this is kind of for all of these characters, you don't really have a way to view them all the way. You can spin them around, but you don't really see them fully from top to bottom. So, the fact that you're mostly getting like a mostly top view is something that I've heard people complain about. I'm not going to say what type of people they are, but there are some people that would like to see more. I'm not going to go into why though, but and it's not about being more revealing or anything like that. I think that the actual designs that they put on a lot of these characters are actually kind of cool. Like, I actually like the way that a lot of these characters look. But you don't really see everything. You're not seeing the footwear that they have, but you can at least like spin them around and see like what their outfits look like and all. And of course, if you tap on like different things, you can get a closer view. But again, you're only seeing like the top half. So I've seen that as a criticism, and I understand it because in a lot of other games you can just see everything, and not being able to see everything is just kind of weird, or fully manipulated on the unit screen. You should be able to see everything basically as far as what they look like. But when you're playing the game, I mean, the visuals are okay, but they're definitely not super flashy. Like, I don't think that there was a lot of effort put on the visuals. Like, there are a lot of other games where you can tell like some of the cutscenes are really strong, or some of the character abilities when they do their specials are like really, really hardcore. This game doesn't really do any of that. Like, it does have like special animations, but it's nothing to brag about. I mean, basically it's just average. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's decent, it's passable, but it's not doing anything different from any other game that's putting more effort, right? So with all that said, if you want my overall score, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. Do I recommend this game to people? I say that everyone should at least try the game, but I'm going to be very honest with you. If you are not a patient person, you will not play this game. You will not keep playing. Because it takes so long to build a single SSR character, which are like the more premium ones, because it takes so long, you feel like when you first play the game that you're at a huge disadvantage. My advice to people that are starting this game is to build the SR characters. So I'm going to pull up an SR character real quick, because I have some of them on my favorites. I'm going to pull up my favorite SR actually, which is actually this lady.
Not everyone can handle the weight
When you're building them, they need something called a, oh that's right, I already have her built, so I can't show you. Hold on, let me find somebody else that's not fully built. That's an SR. We'll say her. So they need something called a evolution lattice. So these are purple, not gold, and they're a lot easier to get. Like you can build these characters in maybe a week. I might be wrong on that, so if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. But I want to say you can have an SR fully built in a week, because these are super easy to come by in just about every event, and of course in the shop as well. Like, this is something that you should have zero problem being able to build. When I first played this game, I fully relied on these SR characters to clear content. Like, I was literally just, I have to use these characters or I'm not going to be able to build up my account. So I built up a bunch of SRs, went to the store, and I did have some SSRs that I was working on slowly, but these characters were the reason I was able to clear content in the beginning. I just fully focused on building these characters, and once they were fully built, I then was slowly starting to build the SSRs that I really liked, and slowly started building them. And as time progressed, I was starting to be able to clear more content and more content. So what I will say is that in this game, there is a sense of accomplishment when it comes to, hey, I finally got to, let me just show you something. So we're gonna go to Threshold. It felt so nice to be able to finally beat Terramaton on Inferno mode, right? Like, for a long time, like, I'm just stuck on normal 3. And then eventually I got to like hard 2, for example, and I was stuck for a while until I was able to slowly build up more characters. And then I got to Nightmare. And as you're slowly clearing this content, this game literally gives me a sense of accomplishment, saying, yes, I finally did it. I finally built up my account well enough to clear this so I can grind it. Same for like the Grim Pursuit. Like, when I got to Nico, not this one, finally being able to do Inferno on this felt really, really nice. It took a long time for me to be able to get to this point. And I'll be honest, there are other characters that I'm not even fully done with yet. Like, I haven't done Inferno for this character yet, right? Or this boss, sorry. So I still have some work to do. But the thing is I have something to work towards. I have a future goal. And if you're patient enough to build your character slowly, do the best you can on clearing content, it is very worthwhile to be able to say, man, I finally beat Ibertrek on normal mode. Let me work on hard mode. Wow, I've actually cleared Ethernet Rally. That's really, really cool. And then of course you'll notice when you're doing these other events, you're doing better and better when you can get more and more better rewards. So there is a sense of accomplishment for doing this. The problem though is that it just takes so long to build a character, especially the more premium ones, that a lot of people are not going to be patient enough to play this. So when I say, do I recommend this? Yes, but you need patience. If you're not patient in building characters, you're not going to like this game. It's really that simple. If you are a hardcore competitive PvP person, I 100% say play this game. You will love the Summon Arena. Like, that's going to be your playground for the longest time. Like, for the competitive person, there's always something to do. Unfortunately for the casual player, once you do your events and your dailies and stuff and your Ethernet Rally, you're really not going to be doing much. So that the only thing that this game is missing is a roguelike mode to get something for the casuals to do, or the not so competitive people to do. But it's still a strong game. I can tell you with confidence that this is my main game. This is the game that I actually put the most effort into in building characters and trying to do the best I can, and of course helping the guild and stuff like that. Definitely my main game. But yeah, 8 out of 10. Hopefully this gives you some good information, and hopefully the devs will in the future, make gold lattices or perfect lattices more accessible, so that it doesn't take too long to build your better characters. That's going to be it for today. Thank you for watching. Also, I just need to say that this will probably be the last review that I'm going to do for a long time. There's really no new games that I'm playing at the moment that I haven't already reviewed. The next game that I plan on getting into will be Suikoden Starleap, but I don't even know when that's coming out on global, so that could be next year for all I know. But when something new that surprises me comes out that I want to play, I'll get into it and do another review. But until then, we'll see you on the next episode. Later.